Welcome to today's adventure, friends. Today, I'm leaving Amarillo and I'm heading east on historic Route 66. We're going to stop off at several destinations, check out all the cool things that we can find. We're going to try and make it all the way to Stroud, Oklahoma. And in our journeys, also check out all the different places that helped inspire the movie Cars. All right, we're on the road. First off, I stopped at Palace Coffee. Got my piping hot caffeinated beverage here. Got a turtle latte. One thing I like about Palace, not only do they have good coffee, but check out these cups. Be kind, right? The daily reminder right there, be kind. Be kind to your fellow humans out there. Be kind to everybody. You know, you don't know what people are going through in life, and that little bit of kindness that you extend to them, that could make a world of difference to them. So try to practice being kind. And you know, the thing is you always get back what you give out. So, you know, giving out kindness and being, you know, just humble with people, it brings back so much in life. Like Adam, you know, would say, the circle of goodness. Extend your circle of goodness. And so we're gonna head out here, cruising down Route 40 right now. There's a lot of parts of Route 66 that just aren't really accessible. They intertwine that road on and off of 40. Basically, we'll get off at a bunch of these locations where there's attractions to be seen. There are some spots that I want to drive down the road. I've tried to map out some of 66 to get on it, but it just basically, everything that I can find, it intertwines in and out of 40. All navigation wants you to be on 40 just for the routes, and really outside of the main towns where Route 66 goes through their business districts, there's really not a lot out there. We might come across some abandoned buildings or something, but I do know where there's some abandoned buildings on one of our stops that we're going to check out. But really interesting next stop coming up in Groom, Texas. So we're going to check out the Leaning Tower of Texas, and it is a water tower that was constructed at an angle to make it look like it was falling over, and they did this to make sure that they grabbed people's attention. I mean, when you're cruising down Route 66 back in the early days, people were on track to go somewhere they wanted to go. They went through all these little towns, but ultimately they needed to get to where they were going. And so to get them to stop in the town and try to gain business, all these little towns, they needed to do something to attract the consumer to stop and stay and check things out, not just grab some gas and go or grab some lunch and go. So Groom, Texas, they constructed this water tower that looks like it's falling over as a sort of gimmick, shall you, to get people to stop. And I think we'll see a lot of that as we make our way down Route 66. The goal is to try to get all the way to Stroud, Oklahoma. So in Stroud, Oklahoma, they have the Rock Cafe. And the Rock Cafe's owner was the inspiration for the character Sally in the movie Cars. So my intent is to try to make the drive out to Stroud, stopping at all of the daytime locations as we go. One other awesome location that we're going to get to is in Shamrock, Texas. The U Drop Inn, which was the inspiration for Ramon's body art. Now, once you see this building, it is identical. The team at Pixar basically took this building, picked it up, and dropped it right in the movie of Cars. And if you've ever been to Disney's California Adventure to Cars Land, you will see the identical resemblance of this building. It's an old Art Deco style Conoco gas station, and just absolute amazing piece of architecture to look at. And so cool that John Lasseter and the team at Pixar brought that into the movie Cars, along with so many other things along this route. Now, like I said, I started in Amarillo and I'm heading east. There are things going west of Amarillo that we're going to do on another trip, including Cadillac Ranch. Now, I am 5 minutes from Cadillac Ranch, so I can stop there and check that out at any time and bring you that content, but I'm going to add that in on my westbound Route 66 itinerary and showcase how that was also tied into the movie Cars in the cliffs, right? As you look in the background scenery of the cliffs, and the same thing at Cars Land at California Adventure, the cliffs and the landscape have the tail ends of the Cadillac sticking out of them, which was 100% inspired by Cadillac Ranch. There's so much on the Mother Road. When you look at the movie Cars, it really tells the story of Route 66 in its entirety, of, you know, being the hot place to be, and all the traffic was going through, and then the interstate came in and just basically destroyed all these small towns. So what we have left on Route 66 is just a minute, just small amount of what was actually here back in its heyday. As I make my way into Groom, Texas, one thing that I did not expect to see, nor did I realize was out here, was a giant cross. So on the west side of Groom, you can see it for miles. And as you're driving through the Texas Panhandle and you see nothing but turbines and open sky, flat plains, here it is. This is the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ Ministries, and it stands 190 feet tall. For perspective on that, Cinderella's castle is 189 feet tall. Think about that. This is one of the largest crosses in the United States, and you can see it for miles. As I was driving up, I could see the tip of it. The closer I got, the larger it became. Now, this was built as a religious site, but also something that could get travelers to stop. And you can see, as I look around, there's lots of cars in the parking lot, travelers stopping, checking things out. And there are statues all across the grounds. And inside that building is looked like some waterfalls and stuff. We're going to wander over and check it out, but a little bit different than most of the stops that you find on Route 66, where they're quirky, they wanted travelers to stop, they're, you know, comical, whatever. This one is a place to come and have spiritual awareness. Lots of people here praying. And each one of these sculptures out here represents a different time in Jesus's life. It's a little bit weird because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. I think Groom has a population of 500 and something. So to take a look at this being built here, it sparks the curiosity of how much traffic do they normally get and how many people come here on a daily basis to see this. Got a cave here with an angel praying. I think it must have something to do, there's a few holes here where light can come in. I'm not sure exactly what those are supposed to represent. Then we've got a couple little buildings over here. I don't know what they say. Shroud of Turin replica. Exact replica of the Shroud of Turin. Wonder if we can go in there if the building's locked. Oh yeah, it's locked. They got another building over there. Quick question for all of you. If there's anybody out there, religious folks, have you ever visited this site or know that this site existed? Up here, we've got some sculptures sitting around a table. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't know what any of this represents. I didn't really grow up in a religious family. Did go to church a little bit when I was younger, but hey, rabbit. Not very religious. Pillar of Truth, the Last Supper. Okay, so this must represent the Last Supper and all of the people in attendance. People leaving money on the plate there. You got Jesus splitting, looks like a piece of tortilla actually, type of bread. Then you've got so here we've got the repentant thief said to the unrepentant thief, "Have you no fear of God, for you are subject to the same condemnation. We've been condemned justly, for the sentence we received corresponds to our crimes, but this man has done nothing criminal." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Luke 23:40-42. You can see all around the cross down there. More statues, people reading scriptures. And then we'll go check out the building over here. See what other statues are over here. Whoa. That's where the dragons went, huh? Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness of snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits. I guess my curiosity, like, did they think that dragons were devil spirits? One thing about it, the property is very well maintained. A lot of rabbits here too. I've seen a ton of rabbits. Bunch of little baby rabbits too. Looks like they got some gift shops and stuff here too that are closed. The Divine Mercy Fountain, O blood of water, which crushed forth from this heart of Jesus, is a fountain of mercy for us. Jesus, I trust in you. Another bunny. There's a ton of bunnies here. Hi, baby. There's a cute baby. Huh? Yeah, cool baby. Oh, got the 10 Commandments here. Oh, these are all the stations of the cross. I see. All the way around. You can see your first station, and then all the way around with all the stations of the cross. Huh. Pretty neat place, especially if you're religious. Let me know if you've ever came here, if you'd be something that you would stop at. I stopped just because of the massive cross. It's pretty neat to see from the highway. It's not something you see every day, especially in an area filled with wind turbines, to see something like a 190-foot cross. But just on the other side of Groom, Texas is a iconic Route 66 stop. So we're gonna hit that up now. Let's go. Behind me is the Leaning Tower of Britten, right in Groom, Texas, along what used to be the original Route 66, now running alongside I-40. And yeah, it's leaning, as it says in the name, right? But this wasn't an accident. This actually started as a fully functioning water tower and was going to be torn down. But then a man by the name of Ralph Britten saw an opportunity. He bought the tower, moved it here, and turned it into something completely different, an advertisement. He built a truck stop and a tourist information center with a restaurant right here on this property. And this was going to be what got people to stop. It leans about at a 10-degree angle, just enough to make you question it, but it's not actually gonna fall. And that's the genius part about it. Because when you're driving Route 66 back in the day, you'd see this from the road, and it was something you wouldn't ignore. Once you pulled over, you were already at his business. And it worked. For years, this tactic brought people in, until the truck stop was eventually damaged in a fire in the mid-1980s, and now this is all that's left. I think one of the awesome things that I find about the story of the Leaning Tower of Britten and Ralph Britten's restaurant and truck stop was the ingenuity that he took to get people to stop. Even after the interstate system was built, people would still stop here into the mid-80s and visit his establishment because of this tower. Really, that's what happened with a lot of businesses along Route 66. They had to figure out ways to get people to stop. All right, we are now at stop 3. And this is where Route 66 changes. It doesn't look like much, but this stretch right here, this was one of the most feared sections of the entire road. This was called Jericho Gap. And back in the days of early Route 66, this wasn't pavement. This was black soil, deep, sticky, muddy soil. And when it rained, this turned into a trap. cars didn't drive through here, they got stuck. And not just for a few minutes. People could be stranded out here for hours, sometimes longer. No tow trucks, no roadside service, no easy way out. But here's where the story gets interesting. There was a town here, Jericho. And this town actually started way before Route 66 as a stage stop in the late 1800s. Just a dugout hauling in water for nearby springs. Then the railroad came through and the town officially formed in 1902, named after the biblical city of Jericho. And when Route 66 came through, that's when everything changed. Because suddenly, the problem became an opportunity. Travelers kept getting stuck out here, and the locals, they got really good at pulling people out. So good that there were rumors some of them were watering down the road just to keep the mud bad, so they could keep making money. Think about that. At its peak in the 1930s, this town had about 100 people. A few gas stations, stores, motel, grain elevator, and all of it existed because people couldn't get through here. But then, everything changed. Route 66 was moved just a half-mile north to avoid this exact problem. Almost overnight, the traffic disappeared, and when the traffic disappeared, so did the town. By 1939, the population had dropped in half. The post office closed in 1955, and by the 1980s, almost nothing was left. Now, just the ghost town. Scattered ruins, old buildings, and a cemetery just a couple miles up the road. And this road, this is what's left of something that once mattered. And I think this is where Route 66 really starts to hit you, because it's not just about the places that survived, it's about the ones that didn't. And somehow, that makes everything else we're about to see matter even more. Let's venture into the buildings and check them out, shall we? There's not much left of the ruins here, as you can see. A couple old dilapidated buildings, an old water tower here, somewhat of a water tower. It's not very big. I'm not sure exactly what they had going on over there. Like some piping coming out of the ground from maybe an old well at one point, but not a whole lot left of these buildings. Definitely can tell ancient ruins of what was once a town, and then storage facility here for probably a local farmer or the owner. Got a bunch of wood and stuff stacked in here. I did see walking over here that there was some old refrigerators in the one section, which might have been like a kitchen or something. But definitely looks like it was probably small businesses or something that was in this area. You could come here in the olden days, and I don't know, maybe each one of these little rooms represented something. Not sure what. If you know how this was set up back in its day, let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested. I'm going to do a little bit more research and find out exactly what these buildings might have been at one point in time. You see, like, this must have been a bedroom here, you know? Got an old steel bed frame here. I mean, maybe this was a living quarters or housing, or like, got a little brick pile in the center, kind of remnants of like what would have been a little fire pit from a little community. Got a old bathtub here. Like I said, here you've got some of the old refrigerators. Look at that Electrolux. Back in the day, this was definitely a kitchen of some sorts here. And you got another old refrigerator here. Yeah, look at that. Crazy. Look at how minimal, how minimal the rust is on these. I mean, I guess you're in Texas, so there's not too much elements, but it's pretty insane. And then you got another building here across the road, and old car sitting over there. Kind of, when I pulled up and I seen that, it kind of reminded me, like, they're talking about the people getting stuck out here in the mud, and it's like really fitting that you have this old car here kind of representing like it's stuck in the mud. You know, you got time stuck in history here. can imagine, you know, what this car was in its heyday. How nice it would have been at one point, and then now just eaten up by Mother Nature. At some point in time, the car will eventually be gone, probably sunken into the earth with not a trace left as it slowly deteriorates. Another old empty building. There is a historical marker right down the road too, so I want to stop there, see what that historical marker says. It may give us some more clues into this area. Looks like somebody's out here pulling brick off of it. A couple tools out here. Some bricks. Like maybe this had bricks on the front of it at one time. Maybe they're gonna tear them apart, take them apart, tear them down, taking what they can salvage from it. I don't know. The next stop on our list brings us to McLean, Texas. And this is Route 66 right here. This isn't just any old gas station. This is what helped keep people moving. When Route 66 was at its peak, places exactly like this were everywhere. But this one's a little bit different than the other gas stations you'll find. This Phillips 66 was the first Phillips 66 in the state of Texas. Built in 1929 and leased to Phillips, this was one of the first Phillips gas stations to help fuel Route 66. And back then, let's face it, you didn't just stop for gas. You had to stop to get directions. You had to get repairs. You had to figure out what was on the road in front of you so you could prepare. Cars weren't as reliable as they are today. Back then, they had a lot of problems. The roads weren't as good, as you've seen back at Jericho Gap. It took its toll on vehicles. And long distance travel, it just wasn't something you do without planning. You know, you can't just do like I did, hop in a truck and say, hey, let's take a trip down Route 66. It took extensive planning. So there was places like this. These were the lifelines for the people traveling along Route 66. You'd pull in, check your gas, maybe check your oil, talk to the person inside, get directions, find out exactly what you were getting into. Because the road ahead, it wasn't always predictable. And the people working here, they knew this area. They knew the roads. They knew where it got bad. They knew where you might get stuck, like Jericho. And they knew when the next stop was, so you could plan. It wasn't just a transaction, it was a connection. This station, part of the Phillips 66 network, one of the major fuel brands that helped expand road travel across America. And when Route 66 took off, these stations became of something much, much bigger. This has a plaque that says this was the first Phillips 66 in the state of Texas, and it was fully restored. The first to be fully restored, which it doesn't look fully restored, but you let me know what you think. Is this a restored building? No windows, no doors, got wood. The gas pumps are pretty cool. I like the gas pumps. I'd like to have one of those. Look at that, 19 cents a gallon. Could you imagine that? What are we paying now, all $4? What are you paying for gas in the area that you live right now? I know here it's $3.50. Amarillo, it's like $3.50, something like that a gallon. Diesel's at $5 a gallon now. Could you imagine that? 19 cents a gallon? How cool would that be to be able to pay 19 cents a gallon again for your gas? And then you've got this old Phillips 66 fuel tanker back here. Old Ford. Starting to sink in a little bit. Looks like some people shot the windows up on her. But got some cinder blocks down there underneath the axle to stop it from sinking anymore. Tires are flat, dry, rotten, coming apart. A little bit more of the building on the backside. It's interesting to see some of these buildings. Some of them are a lot nicer than others. Looks like they recently repainted it, but they did a shoddy job painting it because they painted over the Phillips 66 sign up there. Just came in and did a spray jobby job. Got it all over the boards and everything. So I know maybe when it warms up, they'll come in and they'll repaint the wood to look like windows again, or got some shingles up there on the roof falling apart. It's a neat little stop to see. All right, gang, I am super excited. This is the highlight of the trip for me. We are now in Shamrock, Texas, and standing next to me is the inspiration for the one, the only Ramones. If you've seen the movie Cars or you've visited Cars Land at Disney, this building behind me was the inspiration. This is the U Drop Inn. And this is the real place that inspired Ramones. I mean, seriously, look at this. Is this not a spot on? They did such a fabulous job when they modeled Ramones to make it look identical. The tower, the shape, everything. This is basically a Ramones in real life. And it's not just some random building. This Conoco station was built in 1936, right here on Route 66 at a major intersection. Back in the day, this place was packed. Gas station, cafe, everything you needed to keep going. And remember, if your place didn't stand out, you didn't get the business. Look at how much this stands out. I would stop here too. Here's where it gets even better. When Pixar was making cars, they actually came here. They drove Route 66 and they studied places like this. And this is what ended up in the movie. So when you're watching the movie Cars, you're looking at real places like this, like Cadillac Ranch, Midpoint Cafe. These real places inspired what we know as the movie Cars and Cars Land. It's kind of wild how close they are. Let me ask you this. Did you recognize this building right away? Or is this one of those, wait, this is real type of moments? Don't go anywhere, because I am coming back tonight. You see all the neon lights on the building? All of that lights up, just like Ramone's House of Body Art. Got your old style Conoco gas pumps. Oh, look at this, 38 cents a gallon here. Quite a bit different from the 19 cents a gallon we've seen over at McLean. Looks like we got a little damage on the wall. That's unfortunate. Must have been ran into. Look inside of the building here. You've got the office. Old school office in there. Got a plaque out front here. Tower Building. The distinctive Tower Building was one of many commercial structures erected in the early 1930s along the new US Route 66. Designed by Pampa architect J.C. Berry, the structure was built by local entrepreneur J.M. Tyndall in 1936. The Tower Building is an excellent example of a gas station diner of the 1930s and exhibits many elements of the Art Deco style, including geometric detailing, curvilinear massing, and neon highlights. Recorded as a Texas Historic Landmark in 1994. I wonder if that's a legit restroom. Oh, it sure is. Got your iconic Route 66 stickers. Right away when I came up to this, I noticed there's Justin, Random Land, and there was an open spot right next to him, so had to jump on that. I do not see anything Adam the Woo though. That's unfortunate. Would have been awesome to see his sticker up here with Justin's. Looking at that, it looks like that's probably a pretty recent sticker from Justin's. It's pretty clean. Just look at this. This is such a cool building. And from what I read too, that it almost didn't make it. Like, there was some financial struggles with this building, and somebody else purchased it, restored it, and brought it back to life. So that's very awesome. It's a good thing that they did. This is, could you imagine cars without Ramones? Like, that'd be horrible. Like, this is an iconic attraction inside of Cars Land at Disney, but also in the movie. Let's check out the inside. There you go, look at that. How cool is that gonna look tonight? Definitely return. Uh-oh. It's Bigfoot. We found Bigfoot. 100-year anniversary shirts. Oh, look at that. How cool is that? That's what it looked like back in the day. Very cool. Oh my goodness. Ka-chow! Got your Lightning McQueen and your tomato. There we go. Look at that. That's so cool. I couldn't stop at the You Drop In Cafe without getting food, right? I got a brisket burrito. Look at this thing. Look at that amazingness. Brisket, beans, cheese. That looks insane. Look at that. All right, so let's try it. That's delicious. All right, this has got to be the most Route 66 place I've seen all day. Look at all the automobile nostalgia on the walls over here. We are in Eric, Oklahoma, and this is the Sandhills Curiosity Shop. I don't even know what to look at first. There's so much going on here. But here's the crazy part. This place didn't just inspire cars. This was one of the main places that helped create it. The owner, Harley Russell, is wildly credited as being the inspiration for the character Tow Mater. Think about that for a minute. And I'm not talking about loosely inspired. The Pixar executives came here, they met with him. His personality, his energy, that's Mater wrapped up. And it doesn't stop there. The signs, the randomness, the way everything is just packed in here, this was the inspiration for Lizzie's Curio Shop in Radiator Springs. Like, this is where it came from. Without this place, there might not have been a Lizzie's Curio Shop in Radiator Springs. And honestly, it all makes total sense when you watch the movie. But this is real. Harley and his wife Annabelle, they weren't just running a shop, they were entertaining people. Jokes, music, stories. Exactly the type of people that you expect to meet on Route 66. And let's be honest, are you stopping here? I'm checking it out. Let's go inside. There really is a lot going on when you look around the outside of this building. You just see all of the signs. You've got everything from farming to alcohol to oil, Firestone, soda, car parts, just you name it. Well, unfortunately, it's not open. I went up, tried to open the door, and it's locked up. So we won't get to see what's inside, but we'll continue the journey down the road, and maybe another time we'll get to check that out from the inside. But definitely intriguing on the outside to see all the cool stuff that they've got sitting here. Would have been interesting to see what's inside as well. But for now, we'll keep heading east. I am at Elk City, Oklahoma. I stopped by the Route 66 National Museum, but I just missed the cutoff. It closed at 5. Walking around a little bit though, this is a really cool looking area. By the looks of it, they must have some type of historical events, a lot of old buildings, historical renditions type things. Look at this old opera house, old general store. It's like old towns. You walk around, I'm guessing that they have events here, or it's some sort of a ticketed deal where you can come and walk through the stuff. A livery stable, Elk City elevator, 1920. Old railroad caboose. U.S. Post Office, Bush, Oklahoma Territory. This is really neat. I'm gonna definitely need to check into this and see if they do events here or what the deal is with this, or get over here during the day. Oh, got your letter carrier in there. Can you see that guy? Oh, there he is. Just chilling, waiting for the mail. Look at all that cash that guy's got. Like a bank robber. Barber shop over here. Joe's Barber Shop. Hey, come on in. Have a seat and get you a haircut. Hey, Joe. What do you know? Want to cut my fro? Yep, my hair should be growing. It's hard to see with the sun. Little fruit shop. This is amazing. It's like its own little town, like a replica. Got a jeweler over here. Now I'm intrigued. Definitely, if you know anything about this area in Elk City, Oklahoma, put it in the comments. I want to learn more about this. I want to come back here. I want to experience what they have to offer here. This is super cool. Could you just imagine living back in these times when this was the norm? Wow. Little school building over here. And a farmhouse. And a bank. And a drugstore. Got your little gas station, Phillips 66. They give you a little tiny Phillips 66, like the one we found in McLean. Hey, let's go see what the price is for the gas here. Oh, 46 cents, 40 cents, 40 cents a gallon. I'd rather take that stuff in McLean, 19 cents. Winery Savage Funeral Service. Funeral directors. Oh, look at that. That looks scary. Thinning liquid. What do you think thinning liquid was for? Make you thinner? Can I get some of that, please? What? Oh my goodness. Could you even imagine? Oh, look at that. That's so cool. Got your replica diner in there. Looks like it must have events in here. Like you could come in here and have you a soda from a soda jerk. Or maybe it's just, this is what you get. You can walk around and look at what it would have been like in the day. There's another like museum over there, like a Western museum. And then the front side, inside of these facades here that say fire station, city hall, jail, and police station is the Route 66 museum. But look over here across the street. We have a farm and ranch museum. Look at all the steel sculptures. I'm thinking Elk City's a cool little place to come and check out sometime. You need to get over. Look at all of the windmills. Look at all that stuff over there. All the farm equipment. Blacksmith shop. Look at those cool metal sculptures they got over there. Holy cow. Oh, look at, they got a little carnival going on. Whee! Go get a funnel cake. I've seen over here too in the front, they have Kachina dolls. I don't know why they have Kachina dolls, but it seems like there's a lot more here than just Route 66 memorabilia. We've got all this. Oh, see, does this say Cowtown? So there's a sign over here that says Cowtown. So this must be a rendition of a town that they call Cowtown. Cowtown. Let's see what this says. 018 Cowtown, 1978 to 1993. His hot brand number was 018, but he was called Old Cowtown. Many a builder put a rope on him, and most every time they hit the ground. Over 350 times they nodded the heads, but only 5 made the judge's book. Old Cowtown not only would toss them off, but his reputation said he would also book. 1,800 pounds of gray brindle Brahma. Benny Butler got him as a 4-year-old from Howard and Grant Harris of Cowtown Rodeo. He's one they wish they'd never sold. PRCA stock contractors must have liked him, and the bull riders allowed their respect to show. Twice he was NFR Bucking Bull of the Year, and in 1985 he was voted Best of All Pro Rodeo. A lot of good bulls have come and gone that have caused many a bull rider to frown. Here lies one of the most feared that ever was. He was branded 018 Cowtown. Okay. So maybe there's a bull buried here? I don't know. We got the little replica bridge. So somewhere in this area on Route 66 is a bridge that looks just like this. I passed a yellow one that looked like this while I was on 40, and I'm guessing that was it. And there's supposed to be another really cool old 66 bridge too in this area. All right, one more stop here, and this one is a little bit different. This is Lucille service station, right off of Route 66 near Hydro, Oklahoma. And this isn't like the other gas stations. This is one of the most unique gas stations left on the entire road. It's what they call an upper story outthrust porch style gas station, which basically means the people who owned it, they lived right up there in the top. And in this case, with their 3 children. Not only was this their home, it was their business. Built in 1929, right when car travel was really starting to take off across the country, places like this started popping up everywhere because people needed them. You've got an open service bay, you've got the old pumps. Everything about this was built to help keep people moving down Route 66. But what made this place special wasn't the building. It was the owner, Lucille. The Hammonds family took over in 1941, and Lucille ran this place for 60 years. She became known as the mother of the Mother Road, not because of the business, but because of how she treated people. Travelers would come through here, broke down, lost, trying to make it somewhere better, and she helped them. Directions, food, whatever they needed to keep going, she did that for decades. Then in 1971, I-40 was built. And just like that, a lot of Route 66 stops, they got cut off from traffic. She didn't stop. She kept running the station until the day she passed in 2000. And now, this is what's left. A restored piece of Route 66. Listed on the National Register of Historic Places and still pulling people from all over the world. And honestly, when you stand here, it's hard not to imagine what it was like back then. Cars pulling in, people asking for help, stories being told. And after everything we've seen today, This might be one of the most important stops on the road because it reminds you, the road wasn't built on gas stations. It was built on people. So not only is the restored gas station here, but there is also Lucille's Roadhouse. There's a restaurant, a hotel, and a bar up in Weatherford right down the road, where looks like they got some pretty delicious looking food. If you scan this QR code on the door, it will show you the menu. And as you can see, Route 66 Diner, welcome back. Legendary hospitality of Lucille's. And here's that board I was telling you about. Lucille Hammond's legendary hospitality inspired Route 66 motorists to call her the Mother of the Mother Road. She was known for her friendly assistance to travelers, her great food, and the coldest drinks in the state of Oklahoma. Lucille ran her service station, diner, and hotel for over 59 years along this famous highway in Hydro, Oklahoma. The service station itself stands as part of a unique and bygone era built around the time Route 66 became a highway. Lucille's was originally called the Provine Station, representing the bungalow craftsman style that was popular during that time period. The service station features an open bay supported by tapered pillars and vintage gas pumps. Customary of such architecture, Lucille and Carl Hammond lived in the upper story of the station with their 3 children. Whether you are an out-of-state traveler staying at Hammond's Court or a local resident stopping by for her famous food and cold drinks, Lucille Hammond treated everyone like family. One such resident was Rick Koch from the nearby city of Weatherford. A Route 66 enthusiast, Mr. Koch admired Lucille's joy of living, indomitable generosity, and dedication to the open road. In honor of Lucille Hammond, he bought, restored, and maintains Lucille's service station for Route 66 visitors to stop by for a photo of this unique slice of Americana. The Provine Station was placed on the National Registry of Historic Places in 1997, and the Oklahoma Route 66 Association inducted Lucille Hammond into the Oklahoma Route 66 Hall of Fame in 1999. Lucille Hammond passed away in August of 2000. The Hammond's Court neon sign is on display at the Smithsonian. Mr. Koch proudly continues Lucille's tradition of Route 66 hospitality and great food with Lucille's Hotel, Lucille's Restaurant and Bar in Weatherford, Oklahoma, and Lucille's Restaurant and Bar in Clinton, Oklahoma. To find out more about Lucille Hammond's, visit lucillesroadhouse.com. And don't forget, get your kicks on Route 66. So, look at this, right? Could you imagine the space that you have up there? Check this out. That was the living quarters for 2 adults and 3 children. Tiny, right? Tiny. You got this cool old Chevy sitting here. Nice display. And then over here, they've installed a new sign for the centennial of Route 66. And I have seen some of these plaques, the 100 years of 66. So you can see this one is specific to Oklahoma. Curious how many more of these signs are going to pop up this year to commemorate the centennial. If this is an Oklahoma thing or if they're going to do this across the board up and down Route 66. I did see that they changed the starting location of Route 66 in Chicago to be Navy Pier. So now Route 66 goes from Navy Pier to Santa Monica Pier. I don't really know if you can call it historic Route 66 when that wasn't the original location, but I guess whatever. All in the means of tourism and to get people to Navy Pier, I guess. Building bridges such as this one was a huge deal. Before they built bridges like this, crossing rivers wasn't easy. This connected people, travelers, families, workers, moving across the country, all coming through places like this. And when Route 66 was booming, this would have been full of traffic. Cars, trucks, people heading west, all crossing right here. And now, it's pretty quiet. There's not a lot of traffic, there's not a huge rush, just a piece of history. Recently, you can see they redid a bunch of the concrete here, redid the roadway, put in some new I-beams. Basically, it looks like the only remaining structure intact from the original Route 66 bridge is the steel. That yellow steel that runs all the way down the side of it. Question for you is, how do you feel about bridges? Is this something you would drive across, or are you turning around? My wife hates bridges. This, I think she'd drive over. She hates the ones that go way up in the air and cross over large bodies of water. But one of the things about Route 66 isn't always about the towns either. It's about everything in between. This is one of those in-between moments. Got a neat little sign here too. Program of Change, improving transportation across Oklahoma. The El Reno Cutoff. During the 1930s, the Oklahoma Highway Commission improved Route 66 across the state. The agency shortened and straightened the highway, eliminating sharp curves and toll bridges. Between El Reno and Bridgeport, the OHC planned to realign Route 66 to the south and build a free bridge to carry it across the river. This plan became known as the El Reno Cutoff. Completion of the El Reno Cutoff in 1934 resulted in a direct and efficient Route 66 through western Oklahoma. Several thousand people celebrated the grand opening and bridge dedication. In the 1920s, the closest river crossing was a private toll suspension bridge near the town of Bridgeport, north of the proposed cutoff. When first designated in 1926, Route 66 followed this winding loop as shown on the blue dotted line. The OHC constructed the new bypass route in 1932 and the Bridgeport Bridge in 1933. A final segment of the roadway built in 1934 west of the bridge completed the El Reno Cutoff, as shown in solid blue. Hinton Junction. A welcome sight along the route, travelers along this busy stretch of Route 66 enjoyed a full-service stop at Hinton Junction. In 1940, Leon and Ann Little established the gas station roughly 1.5 miles west of the Bridgeport Bridge. Soon they added a cafe, gift shop, small motel. The Littles continued to serve Route 66 travelers until Interstate 40 was completed in this area in 1962, bypassing Hinton Junction. Remnants of the complex remain today. Route 66 construction provided valuable jobs. As part of the New Deal work relief during the Great Depression, roads and bridge projects used local laborers. 40% of the project costs went toward their wages. Locals from Canadian, Caddo, and Blaine counties made up 75% of the workforce constructing the Bridgeport Bridge. And over here it talks about the construction and what they did and why they did it. So see, South Canadian rivers, wide crossing and shifted channel requires an engineering marvel. The South Canadian River presented some of the greatest difficulties in bridge construction of any river in Oklahoma, according to the OHC. It had wide and unpredictable floodplains, deep bedrock, and a quicksand riverbed. Site conditions required a very long and sturdy bridge. The OHC worked with the U.S. Bureau of Public Roads to choose a suitable and economical bridge design. The winning design was the Camelback Pony Truss Bridge, consisting of 38 identical standard pony trusses linked together. A top chord with exactly 5 slopes gives the bridge a distinctive camel hump. using less steel than other options. Camelback pony trusses were cost-effective and also strong and rigid. When completed in 1933, the 3,944-foot Bridgeport Bridge was the longest bridge in Oklahoma and in the Southwest. It remains the longest Route 66 bridge in the state. Nationally, the Bridgeport Bridge is significant as the longest and best example of a camelback truss bridge. It also has national significance as a bridge built specifically to carry Route 66 over a major river crossing. Down here they show how the Bridgeport camelback truss was in use since El Reno Cutoff opened in 1934. The Bridgeport Bridge became too narrow for today's traffic. In 2023, a new deck provided room for a wider roadway and guardrails. The historic truss panels were reinstalled to preserve the original appearance. Very cool. Take one more look at it. It's unbelievable how long this is. When we first started coming across it, I had just seen the water and I didn't realize how far this bridge goes. And then when you get all the way across it and you stop down here at the little rest area, you can see just how long it is. It's absolutely insane. One more trip across the bridge. Here we go. Woo! Man, is this thing long. There's not a lot of water down in there either. It's more like a creek. But I can imagine it probably floods up at some point. I drove right past this to go down to the bridge, and I didn't think anything of it. Just figured it was an old dilapidated building. But this is what they were talking about down on the sign that we read. This is what's left of the Hinton Court and Cafe, right along Route 66 here in Oklahoma. First, like I said, I drove past it. It looked like just an old building. This used to be a motel and a cafe. You see there's more back there in the background. Purposely built for travelers who were coming through on Route 66. People would pull in here, they'd grab a room, grab something to eat, and then head back out on the road. Now, it's just this. A reminder of what used to be. This is what's happened to a lot of places on Route 66. When I-40 came through, the traffic moved. Just like relocating most roads, the interstate system devastates these small towns. Once the cars stopped coming, so did everything else. Can you imagine pulling in here back in the day? Pulling up, grabbing yourself something to eat, getting a hotel room for the night. Cars everywhere, people inside. Now, just quiet. A skeleton of remains of what was once here. This is the side of Route 66 that not a lot of people see. When you think of Route 66 and you think about the glamour, the centennial celebration this year, celebrating 100 years, all the parades, the car shows, everything that's going to take place, you don't think about what was here and is never going to be celebrated again. It's hard to think about what happened through the years and the devastation that took place to these small towns, these people's lives. We often talk about all the places that survived, but this right here, this is one that didn't. You can see the sun's about down. I am done heading east for the day. I may take another trip and head over another time, but this time we're gonna go ahead and head back, and we're gonna hit up all the locations that I can find the neon lights.